And when I ran this code, you can see that it gave me a Boolean data frame, and all the missing the negative values are said as NaN. You might be thinking that if I just put a comma and then if I just pass another column, this will work, right? But no, it doesn't work. It says key error. Why? Right? Let's say you want to pass multiple conditions in this case. What you will do? Hey guys, what's up? This is Ashank David, and in today's video, we are going to talk about Pandas data frame. So this is going to be the part 2 video of Pandas data frame. And if you haven't watched the part 1 video yet, I will give the link in the description below, and I'll give the link in the I button as well so that you can go ahead and watch that video also. It is highly recommended that you watch that video first and then come to this video, because this video is a continuation of the part 1 video in this case. And whatever we have used in part 1, we will be using that in part 2. So make sure that you watch that video first and then come to this video, right? So now without any further ado, let's get right into the topic, guys. Here, what we did in the previous one was this notebook that we have created, and we have learned about pandas. We learned about data frames, how we can create the data frames. We created the data frames by using the data frame command, by passing the data, the indexes, and the columns in this case. And we learned about how we can select the columns, how we can select the rows, how we can get the elements, how to use lock and iLock functions that we have done in the previous video, right? And the link of this reference notebook is also given in the description below of the first video, the part 1 video. There you can find the reference of this particular notebook. All right. So I've given the link there, so you can go ahead and watch that. Now, before I start today's part 2, I would like to request you people to please like, share, and subscribe to our channel Code is Zakir, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you won't miss any future updates. Right? All right. So I'm gonna just write a markdown first. I'm gonna say here, this is going to be pandas data frame. This is going to be part 2 video. And we are going to talk about conditional selection here, guys. So, but before even we go ahead there, I would first create our data frame. And to create our data frame, I will be importing the NumPy and pandas here. So let's quickly import NumPy as NP, and I'm gonna say import pandas as PD in this case. And because now I'm gonna create the data frame also, to create the data frame before I need the data. So let's import our numpy random dot random. So from numpy dot random import rand n. This is going to import the rand n function. And from this, I'm going to create a seed, which I'm going to say np dot random dot seed. And here I'm going to say, for example, I created some particular seed. Let's say in this case, I'm going to say 101, and I'm going to create the seed. And now I can just create the data frame. So I can, how would we create a data frame? I would just say df equals to, I can say pd dot data frame, right? And here in this case, I need to pass some data first. So if I press Control plus Shift in this case, Control Shift plus Tab in this case, I can read the doc strings here. And here you can see that the first is data, second one is index, and the third one is the column in this case. So I would give the data first, and my data was rand n. Here I'm gonna pass 5 comma 4, and in this case the index was our a. Then I'm just gonna copy the code from here, whatever is there here, so that we get the same thing. Okay, rather than just writing the whole thing manually, I'm just gonna quickly just create the code here. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna print my TF. So this is our TF. Now we have got our TF. Now in this case, this is our data frame. Next thing that we are gonna do here is gonna do conditional selection. Now, what exactly is a conditional selection, guys? When we talk about conditional selection happens when you pass a condition. inside a data frame command. For example, here I can say df is greater than 0. Okay. Let's say if I said df greater than 0, df is this, right? And I said df greater than 0. And when I ran this code, you can see that it gave me a Boolean data frame, which has the data as true and false, depending upon the values which are greater than 0 or less than 0 in this case. So you can see this is returning us true. This is returning us true because these two numbers are greater than 0. But when it comes to this number, b and x, this number, this returns false here. Exactly, this is what you call as a Boolean data frame. I can store this Boolean data frame into some bool df variable. Let's say I said bool underscore df is the name of my variable equals to, I can say df is greater than 0, right? And I can run this. This will give me the Boolean data frame. And if I print here Boolean data frame, you can see I can do this. Now, you know what I can do? In this case, I can just say a command called as df, and inside the square brackets, just like how you get the slices in Python, the same notation, the same square brackets we are going to use here in this case. And here I'm going to just pass this bool df. What will happen? This will allow us to give a data frame where only the true elements are present into a this may from the main data frame, this one. All right. So now if I run this code here, you can see that it is going to show something like this, right? So it is going to only print the true data which is there inside this particular data frame, and all the missing the negative values are said as NaN, not available, right? So this is how you use the Boolean df. Okay. This is the steps, this is some of the steps that I showed you that you can perform conditional selection with. You could have just did all these things in one single line. How? You can say df of, you can just pass df greater than 0, just like this. And this will do the same job as doing this. Here you don't, here we were doing so many steps. First we created this, then we printed that, then we said df of bool df. I could have just did it in the one line. I could have just said df of greater than 0. This will allow us the same thing. When I run this code, I'm getting the same thing. This is conditional selecting collection, guys, right? And this is how we do it. All right. All right. So now next, let us say I am gonna write, I want only the columns in this case with true values in it. Say I can say here df of, I can pass w, the first column here in this case, and here I can pass greater than 0. What will do this? This will only get the positive values, these values from this particular, and it will print it as a series in this case, as you can see. So it printed true, true, false, true, true in this case. So I got a Boolean series in this case. If I'm just gonna print this, it is going to print something like this, right? So this is the negative value, this is the false value, and the other ones are the true values in this case. So those are getting us the true values in this case, right? Now let's say I want to do something like I want to only get the df where in my w column this value is not there. That means this whole row will be deleted and only will get the new data frame of only these 4 rows, right? How I can do that? I can say df of, I can say df of w is greater than 0. In this case, it will give me a df where in the wth column, into the wth column, this particular value is gone. That means the whole row will be gone from a df. So this is going to return us a df where in the wth column, all the numbers are greater than 0. So you can see that 0 has been deleted, but this doesn't mean that it will delete all the negative values, right? I just said only in W I need all the positive values. So it sorted out the data frame according to that particular condition. All right. I could have said that I'm just copying this and I'm pasting it here. I could have said that I don't want anything from maybe X. Then we could have got this because here in the original data frame in the X we had two negative values in this case. So it deleted those two values, but basically those two rows got deleted, and we have got this particular thing. All right. Okay, now let's say I want to grab a column where I need to grab the columns where all the values are negative. Let's say on the zth column, I only want this particular column. What is my original DF? My original DF looks like this. Let's say I want only this particular column. I could have said something like this only, where I would have passed Z here, and here I would have just said less than 0. This will give us this C row only in this case, or basically all the rows which has only negative values into it. So this is how conditional selection works in Pandas when it comes to data frames. All right, guys, I hope this is very much clear to all of you. Now, next in this case, let's say I want to grab a particular column. Okay, so how I can do that? By passing some condition, I want to grab some particular column. Let's say here only, I said not here. Let's say from here only. Okay, I'm gonna just change this to W. Let's say first print DF. Okay, this is our DF. All right. And here, let's say I want to first change I want to only get the positive values from the W, and then I want to get the whole X column in this case. How I can do? First, I filtered out the negative values from the Wth column, and then I can say, I can actually, what I can just save this into a result underscore df, right? Result underscore df equals to, I pass this. So what will happen? This whole data frame will be stored inside this result df, right? And then I can just say result df of, I can say now give me x from it, right? X will be inside single quotes because here it is a column name, right? And it should be capital. So you see that first we performed some conditional selection on Wth column, and then I grabbed the X column. So this is how you can do. But let's say you want to do this the same thing rather than just storing this into some variable and then accessing it. You can directly do something like this. In one line, you can just say here df of w greater than 0, and then you could have just passed this next X here, which will allow you to directly do the same job in just one single line. And this is how we do this in one single line. I hope this is very much clear to all of you guys, right? Let's say you want to grab multiple columns. You might be thinking that if I just put a comma and then if I just pass another column, this will work, right? But no, it doesn't work. It says key error. Why? Because here X and Y are not recognizable, okay? So what you need to do is you need to pass it inside a list, but lists of list, okay? This will grab you both X and Y in this case. So first I performed the conditional selection and then I selected the multiple columns which I want. So basically, we are passing a list of columns that needs to be grabbed. So list of columns that needs to be grabbed after applying this conditional selection. So this is also is the same thing here. All right, guys. If you want to understand it in a simple way, you can use variables concept also in order to understand this. So for example, here I can say bool series equals to, I can say df of, I can say w, and here I can get greater than 0. All right. And in the next line, I could have just said the result equals to df of, I can pass this bool series in this case. And then I could have just said my columns equals to, here I would have passed x, comma, y, right? Or after that, I can just say here at last a result of result of my calls, right? This will also do the exact same job as we are doing here. If it is difficult for you to understand using this one single line, you can understand something like this. We first created our Boolean series, which we got after applying the conditional selection. Then we get the result series. So we printed that result by just fetching out only the Boolean series as a data frame. And then I took my column names and then I said result of my columns, which will give you the same exact result in this case. All right, so this is one point. Now let us say you want to grab or you want to put multiple conditions into one single line rather than just passing only single conditions like this. Here you are just passing one single condition everywhere, right? Let's say you want to pass multiple conditions in this case. What you will do? Okay, so at that time I'll just say on df of here. Let's say now you want to pass two multiple conditions. For example, let's say our df is this, right? Now I want to do something like I want to delete this number also, right? And I, let's say, want to get the y column only number which is greater than 1. So for in this case, I want to delete this and I also want to grab only this in this case. All right. So there are two conditions in this case. That means df of w less than 0. That means this is going to be go off, and w and df of y greater than 1. So only this number will be taken, right? So both the conditions are there. Now two conditions are there. In this case, we are going to use a logical operator in this case. And unlike in Python, we use logical operators as a and d, and here we don't use that. Okay. You have to be very careful about using the and or operators in pandas, which is going to be looking somewhat like this. Df of, in the first bracket, round bracket, I will pass my first condition and I will say here and to say and I can just say single ampersand. This is not bitwise and, guys. This is single ampersand, right? This is in data science and Python. This single ampersand will allow you to do the job of and rather than writing a and d manually. Okay, so you need to be a little bit careful about this part only in this case when you are doing multiple conditions in this case, right? In the next one, you will pass in the next round brackets, you will pass another condition. Now here you can say df of, I can say here w. Actually, this has to be there in the square brackets, right? Right, this has to be there in the square brackets and greater than 0. And here I can say df of, let's say y, this is going to be greater than 1. When you print this, when you run this code, you will see something like this coming. This is how you do conditional selection using passing multiple different conditions at a time. In this case, this allows you to pass multiple different conditions. All right, guys. So this is all about the conditional selection part where we just did multiple conditions, single conditions as well. And in this case, we did the AND operator also. All right. Now next, I'm gonna use the OR operator as well. If you want to use OR operator, you can also use OR operator by just passing a single pipe symbol in this case. You have to be a little bit careful in this case, guys. Single pipe will be used. It's not bitwise OR, it is or normal or in pandas in data science using Python. This is using Python. We don't write or. Instead, we just write single pipe symbol, right? If I run this, it is going to give me this result. Why? Because here now or means either one of the condition is true and then the whole thing is. So in this case, this condition was true. So this condition never got executed only. So we fetched everything from this and the whole thing got printed in this case rather than ignoring all the numbers which are lesser than 1 in this case for y column, right? So this is all about your conditional selection, guys, from the part 2. And the next thing that we are going to do is inside part 2 only, we are going to learn about something called as indexes and its details. in pandas. All right. So first, let us talk about what is an index first. As we already know, we have discussed about this. Index in data frame is A, B, D, E. These are the indexes. These are the columns W, X, Y, and Z. These are the columns in this case, right? When it comes to indexes, what we can perform in indexes, you can get the indexes, you can reset the indexes, you can set the indexes, and these are some of the operations that you will be performing when it comes to indexes in Pandas data frame. All right. So let's talk about that. First, let me talk about um, resetting the indexes. Okay. So what exactly resetting the index means? Say suppose we have this df. We already have this df, right? We have already created this df, right? Now, if I want to reset these index, that means now I don't want this A, B, C, D, E to be their indexes. I can say just df dot. I can say a reset index. All right. And when I say this is a function. This is going to reset the indexes in this case. And in this case, you can see that we have got this A, B, C, D as a column named as index. Because these were the previous indexes, we got A, B, C, D, E as the column name as index. So this is how your indexes will be resetted. And we know this that in Python, everything starts from 0. So by default, index is now started from 0. And now this is the real index of this particular data frame in this case, guys. I hope this is very much clear. Okay. Let's print our df and you see that. But here you can see that originally the changes have not happened in this case, right? Why it happens? Because Panda doesn't want you to lose any data from the data frame. And to do that, pandas do something like this. So in this case, again, you want to use in place, right? Whenever you are saying reset index, you have to say in place equals to true, which allows you to actually do the job permanently in this case. Now you can see now if I print df, this allows us to reset the index permanently. All right, guys. So this is how you do it. Now let's say I want to drop this index part. You remember how we used to drop? I have told you in the previous video. You can just say df dot drop, and in this case, you just pass the name of the column, and this was the name of the column. Index I is small here, and this will allow us to drop the index. But there is one error in this case, guys. There is one error. What is the error? I forgot about the axis. Axis equals to 1 I need to set, which will allow us to delete the um, column that is called as index, which was created here in this case. But you see, guys, again, if I print the df, it will still remain the same. Why? Because again, I need to add third argument called as in place. And here I can pass true, which will allow me to actually drop the index permanently, and this is how you will do it. This is how you can reset the index, you can drop the column, and this is how we can perform some operations on data frame. This is a basic operation that we are performing in data frame in this case, right? Next thing, now resetting the indexes you guys have learned. Now let us understand about how we can set the indexes. Okay, all right. So let's say I'm gonna set the index. So setting the indexes. All right, so let's understand about how you can set the indexes in this case. Now, you might be thinking that there should be a function called as set indexes, just like how we had reset indexes, right? You're absolutely correct. We have a set index function in our pandas data frame, but before I set the index, I need to have some set of indexes, right? Where I can actually to which I can actually set as an index, right? So in this case, I am gonna first define my indexes. That is going to be a list of indexes. All right. So let's say I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say new index as a variable name where I'm gonna pass a list. Let's say my indexes name will be A, then B, then C, okay, and so on till E. Okay. But let's say I don't want to do this in this style. I'm not gonna create a new list in this case. I'm gonna pass a new string in this case, A space B space C space D space E. A, B, C, D, E. And then I'm going to use dot split function. In this case, this is going to allow us to create a new list of A, B, C, D, E. This is how you can use a split function. Now, either you create the list manually, or you can just create a list like this using a split function by splitting up the string. This is your string methods in Python that you should know. This is your basic Python stuff, right? Now, this is our DF. Because we used in place, that index got deleted, and now this has to be set it up as an index. How to do that? So first I'm gonna set the name of this column in this case. So to do that, I'm gonna say df of, I'm gonna say, let's say the name of this column is going to be index, and I'm gonna say equals to new index. This allows us to create the column which has these data in this. This is how you do it. When you add a new column, you can provide the data like this that you have created here. All right. So this is how you can do it. And after doing this, you can directly say here df dot set index, right? Df dot set index, and you can pass here index. You can pass here the name of the column, which is index, right? And here, this is going to be a temporary change. So here you're gonna have to write the in place. You can see that when I run this code, it gives you this index. But in this case, this is going to be a temporary change. So now if you print this again, it is going to do something like this. So that is the reason why you need to have in place equals to true. Okay, which allows you to permanently do the index, right? You saw that when I said in place equals to true, it just added the new column there. Okay. Rather than just adding the new column, I want to set it as an index. And to set the index, I will use dot set index, which will bring that added new column here in the index row. You understood now? And this is how you can set the indexes, guys, of this data frame. I hope this is very much clear to all of you guys. Well, this is it for this video, guys. Till here only I'll keep for this video. Otherwise, the video will become too much long in this case. This is going to be our part 2 video of data frames. Today we learned about how you can perform conditional selection, how you can perform various type of conditional selection, Boolean data frame. You learned about how you can give once a condition, how you can give two conditions. Just make sure when you're passing two different conditions, the use of and or, you don't forget about that. Here in Python, unlike in Python, we say a and d and. Here in Python, in data frame, and in pandas, we use single ampersand and single pipe symbol for and or. In this case, you have to be a little bit careful about that, guys. All right. So, yep, that's it, guys. Nothing much in this video. I hope you have liked today's video and you have understood the concept very well. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section below, and I'll give the link and the reference of this particular notebook into the description as well. So you can access this notebook from our description, and all the link of the videos of the previous videos and the references will be given in the description below. And if you have any doubts, you can ask us in the comment section and I'll try to cover it as soon as possible. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel Coders Arcade, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you won't miss any future updates. That's all for this video, guys. I hope this is very clear. This is Ashank David signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So till then, happy learning.